green, but it's red. It can be the same. At 6:30 p.m., we will call the regular scheduled Maumelle Planning Commission to order for March 28th, 2024. Announcements from staff?
Yeah, just a couple of small announcements. The Express Edition lots 1 and 2 was filed. In fact, that was filed yesterday. We are currently staff reviewing 1 replat in CCA and 2 replats in Majestic Point. And that is all of the announcement from staff.
Thank you, Mr. Klein. So next item on the agenda is the approval of the February 22, 2024 minutes. Commissioners should have those in their packet and subject to review. I'll entertain any comments or revisions that are necessary. Seeing that, I will take a motion to adopt the minutes of the February 22, 2024 minutes.
I make a motion to adopt the minutes as presented.
Thank you. Here's a second.
Second.
Hearing the first and second, we'll now vote to approve the minutes of the February 22, 2024 minutes. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. The motion passes. We do have 1 comment card on non-agenda items for public comments. Mr. Mosley.
Hello, I'm Steve Mosley. I live at 16 Riverwood Place here in Maumelle, and I'm one of the Ward 1 council members. I just want to let you all know that we've got, I think Casey Covington with Metro Plan is supposed to come in front of the city council at our next meeting on April 1st. And I'm not sure what all he's going to present. I know he may be presenting some report that they've worked up. But they also, I think, are going to answer some questions from the city council about studies they might be able to do to help us determine what our traffic situation is going to look like down the road, especially on Maumelle Boulevard. And want to let you all know that because you might be interested in that. So, and for those that may not know what Metro Plan is, but they're an organization that basically sets the priorities for highway projects with Arkansas Department of Transportation. So they look at these things, and like if we're looking to try to get our Maumelle Boulevard expanded to 6 lanes, we need to hopefully have them putting that as a priority. And that's probably not going to be for a long time. But anyway, I just wanted to let you all know that. If you've got any questions, I may have forgotten to mention something, but City Council's at 6 o'clock on Monday night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mosley. Moving on to the next item, we need to open a public hearing for the rest of our business tonight. So the first item is old business, which is CUSE 24-2, the Hillside Putting Course conditional use permit, and I need to ask clarification. This needs to be due pass based contingent on item number 1 of new business. Is that correct?
That would be correct. They kind of run together. The code amendment is actually in part due to this conditional use request and just assist us in getting our codes updated.
I think that's okay to hear this in this order, Mr. Counselor.
Yes,
okay. Thank you. I think I asked that at subcommittee too, and received the same response. So we will hear for the Hillside Putting Course conditional use permit. I would ask, we get to the point of moving forward with the motion on due pass, that you, whoever is moving forward with that, is to condition that based upon the approval of item number 1 for new business, which is a code amendment update for the outdoor amusement That being said, which staff member is handling this?
I'll handle it. You have the PC report in front of you. A couple things I want to clarify after listening to the subcommittee, since I wasn't in attendance, just to address a couple of the questions. The first one, yes, notification was done and a sign was personally put on the property myself. That was actually done back in February. If you remember, this actually came to the Planning Commission initially in February and was deferred to this month once we, as a staff, realized that we needed to move forward with a code amendment. So notifications were done in February, as was the sign. Another question was, this is prior to the code amendment being changed by Planning Commission recommendation. The question on whether this would have required a conditional use in a C3 zone, it would have. With the original draft of the code amendment, we were allowing this use by right in C3, with the exception when the zoning boundary abuts a residential zoning boundary. In this case, most times zoning boundaries follow either property lines or they're going to follow street center lines. So in this case, the street center line of Maumelle Village Drive with the C3 would abut some PRD, which is residential zoning. So that was why our request is still for this conditional use, even now with the Planning Commission amendments to the code amendment that we're going to have next. So with that said, moving forward, this is obviously now it's a conditional use for an outdoor amusement and recreation establishment in a C3 zone. It originally came in as a health and education facility. Obviously, thanks to our city attorney, that has changed, and it is being brought forward as it probably should have been brought forward in the first place. The staff analysis, no history of this land use request on this property has been C3. Even though, if you remember, the past 2 years we've rezoned the property to the south of it from C3 to C2. It does conform with the municipal plans, open space, it's open recreation, very little impact as far as environmental. It is a hillside that is just treed. We've received no public comments. Doesn't have to be any effect on public services. There will be some stormwater alignment that will take place through the site plan process. We feel it's reasonable with this location. It's in a commercial district and its location to the town center and Maumelle Boulevard. Erosion and stormwater controls will be required. No additional right-of-way is needed for this. Maumelle Village Drive, the old commercial park drive, is already 70 feet, well within range. And we feel this fits the zoning. We recommend a do-pass recommendation to the City Council, contingent on staff, commissioner, city engineer comments, and obviously contingent on the approval of the following code amendment to create the use.
Thank you, Mr. Lyon. Further question from commissioners? Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion for do-pass recommendation for the Hillside Putting Course conditional use permit.
I'll make a motion to do pass recommendation to City Council, further staff, commissioner, and city engineer comments, and on the condition that Code Amendment 24-2 is passed.
Second. Hearing the first and second, we'll now take action on CUSC 24-2 for the Hillside Putting Course conditional use permit. All those in favor for the Hillside Putting Course conditional use permit indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed? The Hillside Putting Course conditional use permit is under due pass recommendation of City Council. We'll now move into new business, which is first item of new business, CAU 24-2, which is a code amendment update for the outdoor amusement establishment.
Again, thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Chair. This is a proposed amendment adding a new commercial use of outdoor amusement and recreational establishment. It's going to fill a hole in our current zoning ordinance that does not have a definition that would fit these types of facilities. Previous approvals were shoehorned into health and education facilities, which is really not a good fit. And this also establishes zones where this new use is permitted by right or by conditional use permit. These are all within Section 94. It's pretty well explained already in the staff report. I believe the healthy discussion in the subcommittee was to amend the original proposal to require it as a conditional use in all of the proposed zonings. So it's a conditional use in C2, C3, C4, I1, and PCD. You have the definition. I can read it if any members would like. Otherwise, I believe you've seen it, and this is the ordinance that will be sent forward to the city council, and the staff recommends a do pass recommendation.
Yeah, I would appreciate you adopting our comments. That's Tracy pretty much and you, Mary, as well too. So they had a chance to look through it, but they did make the changes and read through it. It's what I believe the direction was.
I confirmed it.
Okay, very good. Yeah. I didn't check it back to code, but it did read right. Very good. Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
Just a clarification on the definition on that first page, and you can say this is me picking at it, but it talks about the definition as outdoor amusement and recreation establishment means. Goes on, and then it repeats the word recreation. Are we clear what recreation means, or am I just picking on that word? Can it be misinterpreted, or again, something that we're not thinking of? Just challenging ourselves to that definition, our own internal.
I'll let staff or the counselor handle that question.
So I copied and pasted, we already have a definition of indoor amusement and recreation establishments. And it's exactly the same text or the same language, except it's outdoor. Question, can it ever be misinterpreted? Well, of course.
Yeah,
Generally speaking, whenever we have a term like recreation,
yeah.
that isn't otherwise specifically defined in the legislation, it just takes its common meaning. So could it be misinterpreted?
I looked it up. No, I looked it up to make sure I knew what it meant too, so I'm good with that.
Are you satisfied with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Any other questions, comments? Thank you. Chair would entertain a motion for the CAU 24-2 code amendment update for the outdoor amusement establishment.
Mr. Chair, I
Yes.
recommend a due pass recommendation to the City Council contingent on further staff, commissioner, and public comments.
Thank you. To hear a second.
Second.
Thank you. Hearing first and second, we'll now take action on CAU 24-2 for the code amendment update on the outdoor amusement establishment. This is again due pass recommendation to City Council. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. The motion carries for due pass recommendation to City Council for the code amendment update on the outdoor amusement park. We will now move to our new business item number 2, which is the land use map. This is placed for discussion and staff request only. And are you asking for a formal deferral from, or staff asking for formal deferral to April to take action? Is that what you want us to formally do?
Yes, the comment was put in there for, obviously, to have an open discussion, and if there's any of these areas that the commissioners disagree with or would like to see a different type of update, or the public, obviously this would be a good time to hear the discussion, or if there's other areas that we may have missed that the commissioners feel may be subject also to a land use update. Obviously, this would be a good time to do it, and then we'll ask, obviously, to our request to defer it to April for a formal ordinance or ordinance to be drawn up, is so that we can also, once we have narrowed it down to the properties that everybody does want, we will send letters to all the property owners at that point to just notify them that we are looking at proceeding of doing a land use update, and their property is part of the update. I have letters about ready. We did do public notification in the newspaper, so we did notify that of an amendment, and that would be heard at this public hearing. So that's why also I think a discussion, and then a formal staff would request a deferral if the commission so sees it, to have a formal ordinance drawn up and ready to go after the April meeting.
Thank you. Just trying to figure out exactly how to handle this stuff. There's 11 items here on the proposed land use amendments. We went through these at subcommittee to quite a bit of extent and talked through it. Mr. Lyon, I know you weren't there, but we went through it. It sounds like you watched the video. So what I'd like to do is, unless there's any commissioners wanting to discuss any particular one of these, just let this stand as input and items, see what we get. The notices have not gone out, and I do expect some response, we do, and if we get a lot of response back, we may want to defer again. And I don't think staff has a problem with that at all, so this is kind of the first round. We're going to do this probably 2 more times in just a matter of time. I'm happy to discuss any of these, but as far as to go through each one in a matter of time, since we're not taking formal action, I would like to just kind of pass on that if it's okay with the commission. And then we'll hear it again at subcommittee as well too. Is there any items of the 11 listed in our packet that you would like to discuss or have further questions about from commission? At this time. It's not the only time you're going to have the opportunity.
And Commissioners, I believe this list has not really changed since we first brought it forward, I think back in January. We've just trying to make sure we're tweaking and we're getting everything. Like, we removed a couple properties due to sensitivity with property owners on some potential later projects. So this is the 11 that we're going with. Again, like I said, if there's some areas that you feel like we missed, we're welcome to look at it further as well. So, thank you.
Any comments or discussions from staff at this time? I look forward to hearing some from the public when it gets to that point. I think there will be some interest on a few of these. If not, the staff's asked for deferral for action in April. Of course, that doesn't, we can defer again depending on what type of public comment that we would receive. So we're asking for that. So I would need that in form of a motion to defer the Maumelle land use map to the next regularly scheduled meeting.
I'll make a motion to move the Maumelle land use map update to April.
Very good.
Second.
We're in a first and second for a deferral for action on the next regular scheduled planning commission meeting for the Maumelle land use map. All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 All those opposed, the motion carries, and we will defer for April as requested by staff. The next item up for our new business is SUB 24-4, which is the 191 Deauville. We've been arguing about this a little bit. Drive easement vacation. It will be spelled right for the minutes. And they're asking for a vacation of a 35-foot utility easement located in the rear. I do see the applicants that are here in the audience, and they're going to show up for subcommittee meeting as well too, and explain the situation. So, staff member, Sandlin?
As you see, I wrote a cover letter up that was in your packet, kind of explaining everything. So what we have here on this property, there is a 35-foot utility easement, which anyone that's been around planning long enough knows a 35-foot utility easement in the backyard is a rather large utility easement. I believe it was there for North Little Rock wastewater when they were going to put a sewer main along Maumelle Boulevard. That has since changed. On this property, I believe just to the south, there is a drainage ditch, and they chose to make a right-hand turn there and shift the alignment that way, leaving the backyard with the utility easement still there, but no major functioning utility within there. With that said, Ms. Gaddison has been very straightforward on this. She has contacted utilities. We've contacted utilities via email on this cover letter. I can go over it if need be. None of the utilities have issues with removing 25 feet of that 35-foot easement. So what that leaves is a 10-foot utility easement along Maumelle Boulevard in the backyard, which is standard for most subdivisions. If you look, Fidelity initially did have a conflict with it, and then I attached an email, or I wrote them an email afterwards stating, well, do you have an issue if the utility is brought down to just the 10 feet? And they said they had no issues with that. They were the last hold up there. AT&T has given a verbal approval to the homeowner. However, they won't do a formal approval until a plat is drawn up and a survey. And talking with the property owners, I believe they're going to have a surveyor coming out immediately after this hearing if it is approved. So I can go over more of the comments if any commissioner has questions, but we would recommend approval of this vacation of 25 feet of the easement. So it would be a 10-foot utility easement when this property is replatted.
Thank you, Mr. Lyons. Staff questions? I believe the applicants want to put a pool in, if I remember correctly. And through that permit process, this was discovered.
Do we need to have a condition on this for the AT&T survey or not?
Well, when they do the replat, I think
So,
You may, yeah, if you would, you have to state your name and address, please, for the record.
My name's Kelly Gaddison. My address is 191 DeVille Drive. And so upon initially contacting AT&T, there were two lines that were going through. One was the old copper line that served the main hub across the backside. The other cut across our yard and was our personal previous internet line. So we paid AT&T to come out and take out that line. So the line from AT&T that remains is actually inside of that 10-foot easement.
But with that comment, then, it sounds like AT&T is satisfied, then. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any further questions? Thank you for coming in and getting a permit application. We've had, well, too many pools to count with issues here, so we appreciate that. Hearing no other comments or questions from staff or commissioners, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the vacation of the 35-foot utility easement now going to 10 for 191 Duville Drive.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the easement vacation for 191 Duville Drive.
Thank you. Thank you. Hearing the first and second, we'll now take action. For SUB 24-4 for 191 Duville Drive easement vacation, all those in favor, please indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. Passes for 191 Duville Drive easement vacation. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if you don't
Yes.
mind, just so to clarify this, when they bring in the replat, since it is under 3 acres, this will just be a staff level replat review, so that the commission won't see it again, other than in our announcements when we say it's been filed. But just to clarify, if there's going to be any questions,
Yep.
if you don't see that plat in the future.
Yeah, I'll assume that the plat has to be taken care of before you're going to issue the permit.
it'll be done tomorrow.
I'm sure that was explained to the applicants if you did not know. So, all right, very good. So we have one last item under our new business. We had requested our counselor to put together a resolution to ask for an updated comprehensive plan. Up here, there's news of this solicitation and request, counselor. Is that correct? That
Yes, I'll let
So,
I tried to let him do it, Scott. He just kicked the ball back in your court.
So I'll take this one over. And I'll be more than happy to fall on the sword as far as possibly
We're
misleading.
just trying to do the right thing here for
Right.
Steve and others of
Right.
interest, right?
So it's not necessarily the planning commission's process to direct city council or the mayor to do something. Actually, the ordinance states that the planning commission can create plans for the city. So actually, you can do this. You can direct me to start the process, but really, rather than a resolution going through, we would just be pulling that. And if you'd like to make a recommendation, you can make that recommendation to begin the process of updating our comprehensive plan, either to me or you can make the recommendation to city council or the mayor. And then we'll take that information and then we'll do it the same process as we do everything else. I will say that, as Councilmember Mosley mentioned, Metro Plan is going to be coming next week to speak to City Council, and we have had discussions on things that they can do to assist. So I'll be working, and so there's processes that are already in play that will help us get that process moving. But if you'd like to formalize it here as just a motion, as a recommendation, then you can do that.
I'm happy to entertain that. Should the commissioner like to move forward with that?
Please. So you want me to?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
it was your idea.
All
I just
right.
thought that maybe you would want to honor with the
Well,
motion.
thank you. All right, I would like to make a recommendation to City Council to begin the process of updating the city's strategic plan to guide planning decisions.
Thank you.
Second.
Here in first and several seconds, we'll now take action on that motion. All those in favor by saying yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. Same. Motion carries. We'll do that. So,
I'll just say that although Mr. Grimmer tried to fall on the sword,
seems like I
should have,
asked you a question in subcommittee, did I not, Counselor?
you did, I should have spoken up in subcommittee. I'm usually.
I didn't know I had
I
that.
wasn't fast enough.
There you go.
I
Fair enough.
never am. Thanks.
Okay, we'll close public hearing. City Council reports. The first one, liaison is Mr. Ramsey.
No, I left my whole packet at my house.
Sounds like somebody ate the dog's homework. Okay, I usually watch online and then ask questions, so it was long and there wasn't minutes, so I actually sat down about, how did you get through it before I had to get here? So there was, let me see here, the issues were at hand were actually all related to us, which is the second reading, all these are second readings, amended master street plan, amended code concerning site plan review, amending city code concerning, and somehow or another, Director Germer was absent, and Mr. Line ended up speaking for a better part of an hour, which I watched almost all of it. So lots of questions and concerns regarding the density and the action, and lots of concern regarding which would be the residential connection into the Diamond Point subdivision. So that was a second reading. They've taken no action on that. That's going to be on the agenda for the next time. But there's a lot of play into the apartment thing, density development, and things like that. So, and lots of this has to do with our recommendation on the planning side as well too, which I think would help. To that though, which was tied to the resolution approving the conditional permit for the density did pass, 5-1 I think, and I didn't get to it. I had to come here and ask Jason that information. So that did pass, and then I think that concludes, I guess, the approving. Yeah, that does conclude our activities for that evening. Okay, next month, City Council Liaison, Commissioner Ray, April 1, which is coming up, April Fools, and then April 15th is Commissioner Jones. Any other?
Just so I can clarify, Mr. Chair, any of these items tonight that require City Council attention, they will not be heard until April 15th due to the quick turnaround to the meeting on Monday. So any items that require City Council approval will not be heard until the 15th.
So those items that were on the third reading, so those items that were quite a bit discussed would be on April 15 agenda, is what you're trying to say?
No, so the third readings will be heard Monday. Any items heard tonight at this meeting, I'm sorry,
Okay.
I'll clarify. Any meetings heard tonight and
Action
approved by,
for items.
actions tonight that require City Council approval will not be heard until the 15th due to the quick turnaround. But Monday night, the third readings of those ordinances will be heard.
Very good. Any other business to come before us tonight? I think so. I have no further comment cards. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Here in a second.
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying yes.
Yes.
No, we are adjourned.
So real quick, for a question, we were gonna come